Hi, I'm Daniel Radcliffe. I'm a natural fit for Spider-Man. Jesus, it will not stick. Debunking AI. And that's how it knows that, with ScreenRant. Daniel Radcliffe is the British actor who became world famous playing Harry Potter. Since then, he has reinvented himself with bold, unexpected roles on stage and screen, including winning a Tony Award in 2024. Well, thank you for including that bit. Yeah, that's a fairly accurate and positive assessment of my life and career. So I can't find too much fault with that.
Have you ever been recognized for something other than Harry Potter?
Yes, I have. You can tell sometimes when people want to come up to me, and if somebody's favorite movie is Swiss Army Man, they lead with that. Like people definitely like Guns Akimbo and Swiss Army Man are probably the films that I get the most people mentioning to me that are not Harry Potter. But you know, Once Upon a Time, Extras was absolutely the thing that if you were a young man in England and you didn't want me to think that you watched Harry Potter and like you wanted me to think that you didn't give a shit about Harry Potter, which a lot of young men wanted me to think. Then they would be like, oh, I love doing extras, I don't like Harry Potter. And I was like, okay, mate, that was also 10 years of my life. You don't have to say you didn't like Harry Potter. But yeah, I feel like extras I used to get a lot, still do sometimes. And of course, occasionally I will also be recognized for work that is not my own, like Lord of the Rings, which has happened, quite a few times. Even though stood next to each other, me and Elijah look quite different, the idea of us is the same. Oh, okay, what's the AI got to say about this? The Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins is an upcoming sports-themed comedy TV series about a disgraced former professional football player named Reggie Dinkins. He hires Arthur Tobin, an award-winning filmmaker played by Daniel Radcliffe, to live in his mansion and shoot an immersive documentary about his life, career, and quest for redemption. Very accurate, again. Yeah, it's about that. It's pitched it really, really well. Basically, Reggie has been retired in disgrace because he was betting on games. Although, as he will tell you, he was only ever betting on himself to win, so it just gave him more of an incentive. 20 years later, he wants to get into the Hall of Fame. To do that, he wants somebody to make like a glorifying documentary about him, so he hires me, and I want to make like a piece of real art, and he just wants me to film him dunking a basketball and just looking cool all the time. And so we're at odds, and then eventually as the series goes on, you also kind of come to learn that my character's career might also like not be in the best place, and that we kind of need each other to both get redemption. And AI says, because it's a fascinating, messy human story with real stakes, it gives him creative freedom, unprecedented access, and the chance to capture a redemption arc that could be powerful, chaotic, and career-defining. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty accurate, I guess. I think what it misses is that Arthur Tobin decides to make a documentary about Reggie Dinkins because Arthur Tobin needs a job. I think at the beginning, in the first episode, he's kind of putting himself out there as like somebody who's like an auteur and a very, prestigious documentary filmmaker. But as the series goes on, you realize that he is basically he's somebody that made a couple of great, very respected, artistic indie movies, and then he got given like the big Marvel thing and absolutely screwed it up and ruined his standing in the industry. So really, he wants to make a good documentary, and he certainly sees an opportunity in that, but he also, Reggie is probably one of the few people willing to employ him at that moment. And he lets me live in his house, so I don't have to pay rent, so that's also nice. And AI says, yes, Daniel Radcliffe has expressed interest in exploring filmmaking and directing. And once again, AI is correct. I have expressed that interest. And that's how it knows that. It's not really clever. It's just looking at the internet for these answers. But it is correct. I would love to direct. I love being on set. I love being in the middle of a set. I think I would be good at certain aspects of it and also have a lot of aspects of it that I need to learn. Yeah, and it's one of those things where I've been talking about it for a long time. I've been talking about it enough for a long time that AI has heard it. So I need to kind of get on with it at some point, which I don't think it's going to be in the next couple of years, but maybe in the next 5 or so I will start making some real moves towards that. Not theatre. I don't think I would like to direct theatre. I don't have an inherent understanding of how to use a theatrical space to make something theatrical, but I do think that the cumulative amount of hours I've spent on a film set hopefully will add up to having a pretty good knowledge of how to run a set and of ways of fixing problems on a film set. I'm sure I have annoyed a few directors already by being a little bit of a backseat director if I see a problem on set and I'll be like, well, couldn't somebody do that? And then, I'm definitely that person now. But I like to think I'm more helpful than just annoying. Daniel Radcliffe isn't known for being particularly athletic, but he's fit and capable when a role or hobby calls for it, like Harry Potter, wand duels. stunts. One duel's incredibly unathletic, and Swiss Army Man. Yeah, I mean, I got to do, I feel like physically capable is more than I would say than like athletic. I definitely am like, I'm fit and I love throwing my body around at stuff, and if somebody, I've always said like in fight scenes, I'm like mediocre at doing the fight. I am fantastic at getting beaten up. Like I have most of what I was doing on Potter was like I was on the wrong end of being, so that's what I learned was to like sell a punch or a kick to the ribs or you know, going along the floor or whatever it is. So like I love doing that kind of stuff. I love, I got to do a lot of stunts on Potter that were really crazy. I got to do 6 weeks of underwater filming on the 4th film, where we were just doing like scuba underwater filming every day for a week. Like there was stuff that I was able to do on Potter that has really like, that I kind of took for granted at the time, that I was like, wow, I will never get to do as much of this again on other stuff.
Are you a fan of sports?
I love sports, yeah, absolutely. I love NFL. This NFL season has been incredible. I'm in 2 fantasy leagues, and I'll watch most sports. I won't watch like golf, sorry to all you golf guys out there. But honestly, even like if I'm sitting with a friend, I have one friend who really likes golf, and I watch a bit of the Masters with him at one point, and even that, like anybody who has enthusiasm for something and can like give me the basics of the story of what this particular game is, I can get into it.
How do you balance your rooting interest between your fantasy team and the Lions?
Me and my girlfriend both try and have at least one Lions player on our team every year. And like we'll always root for the Lions to win over our fantasy players to do well. But you know, yeah, it is tough sometimes when you're like, oh man, I really want to win this fantasy game, but like you know, that's what playing fantasy is. Sometimes you just have to, and that's kind of the bad thing about playing fantasy, is that sometimes you will be like rooting against stuff that you wouldn't want to happen in real life. So yeah, it's conflicting, but fantasy's great, and American football is made to be a fantasy sport as well. It's crazy.
How did you become a Lions fan?
So my girlfriend is from Flint, and just outside Detroit. So I've always been like a Giants fan since I moved to New York, but now the rooting interest in the house is very much split between the Giants and the Lions. And you know, let's be honest, the Lions have given us a lot more to cheer for over the last few years than the Giants have, bless them. Funny, because like the Giants and Jets have really been, you know, they neither have been great over the last few years, but the Jets still get all the shit. Like the Giants, I feel like the Giants are like, when they're good and that's great, and when they're bad, it's not like, they're just kind of boring bad, whereas the Jets always manage to be bad in like a more spectacular way. Oh, okay. And AI answers, Daniel Radcliffe's comedy style is dry, deadpan, and darkly absurd, while Tracy Morgan is high energy, unpredictable, and larger than life. Structured silliness meets improvisational madness. Yeah, I'll give it to you, AI. You're not too far off there. I think Tracy is funny in a way that like 0.1% of human beings on the planet can be funny. Like Tracy has something that is unteachable and unlearnable, and it's just him, and it's beautiful and insane to watch. Like there are line readings, there are lines that our writers have written for Tracy that truly I would not be able to say in any way that made you believe it or laugh, but Tracy is just who he is, and so funny and so brilliant that he makes it work. My style of comedy, I would say, is much more like, I think I am at my best when my character is unaware that anything funny is happening, and I'm just kind of playing it very, very straight. When you've got writing of this quality that allows you to do that, then you really do just have to kind of deliver the words and play it pretty real, I think. Oh. Like Reggie, he has faced the challenge of escaping typecasting after Harry Potter. Wait, is that like Reggie? Has Reggie faced the challenge of escaping typecasting after Harry Potter? That's one of those moments where you like read a sentence from AI and you're like, yeah, that's basically, wait, no, that's nonsense. He's also had to navigate intense public scrutiny and protect his mental health while taking on physically and emotionally demanding projects. I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah, I think there's something, whenever you become famous young, there is no become famous at any age in your life, it's gonna change stuff, and you have to figure out how it fits in with the rest of your life. In some ways, I think getting famous when you're very young is almost easier, because then all the weird things about fame kind of are so intertwined with your life that they don't feel weird and as incongruous when you're sort of coming up against them. And you know, I've always been really lucky. I've got good people around me, and I always have had, and so that kind of people who have, I think the challenge of becoming famous is like perspective, and keeping things in perspective, keeping like what your life is in perspective, and also having a perspective on like what the real world is and what, like, you know, what really matters. I think when you become famous young, it's just a matter of like figuring out what is really important for you and what really makes you happy, and if you can figure that out, then just like focusing on that and remembering that everything else is sort of Bullshit. Exactly, you can't, it's like a horoscope. You're like, yeah, I mean, I guess. Oh wow, and it's like guessed at a full quote from me and it's put my quote in italics. Okay, he'd likely say something like, focus on the work, not the hype. Treat every scene like any other acting job. Yeah, because the kids will know what that means. And trust that the rest will take care of itself. Stay close to each other, lean on the crew. I did say that. Keep your life outside the spotlight intact. Sure, as much as you can, enjoy it, protect your mental health. I'm definitely gonna say that to a 10-year-old. And don't be afraid to make these characters your own rather than trying to copy what came before. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think the thing that I really don't want, like there's, you know, when these kids got cast, I think there's a whole thing around the internet, around the world, people being like, we've got to look after these kids, we've got to look after, and I was like, if you mean that, if everyone really means that, all the people that are saying that, one of the things you can do, for me, is not ask about us, me, Emma Rupert, all the time. I would like not to be like weird spectral phantoms in these children's lives and just to let them like get on with it, because it's going to be a new thing and it's going to be a different thing and they're going to be, I mean, I'm sure Dominic is going to be better than me and better than I was. I learned as I went, whatever. I look back on what I did now with a lot more kindness and I find it less embarrassing now that I'm older. But I was very much learning how to do it for a long time on Potter. And yeah, and I would say, I hope you have the best time. And the one thing that gets absolutely right, lean on the crew. The crew I think everyone has an image of the way we were all raised on the set by the best British actors and that's why we all turned out fine. It's like, guys, the best British actors were around us for like 2 weeks of 10-month shoots. Like, they were amazing, of course they were, but like Maggie Smith wasn't coming in to give me like advice on how to grow up. Like, that, and nor should they have been. That's not their job either. And I got close with some of the adults a little bit, but the people we were really, really close to were the crew. This is my own little, pet peeve that I'm getting on now, but like, we've had some older cast members who passed away in the last few years, many obviously, like one of them being John Hurt. I filmed with, and people came to me for a comment when he passed away, and I'm like, I filmed with John Hurt for 2 days across 10 years. You should ask his friends, ask people that knew him really well. Whereas when when we tragically have lost a couple of young assistant directors from Potter who passed away very young. Jamie Christopher is the person I'm thinking of now. Jamie was a much more influential person in my life than a lot of the other actors. No one comes to ask me about him, the thing I would say is the crew are the people that I became my best friends. The crew are some of the people I'm still really, really close to. And so yes, leaning on the crew, that part, AI, don't know which AI this is, if it's ChatGPT, you got that right, ChatGPT. And it says he has said that he's only watched the Harry Potter movies once or twice. That is true. I would have seen, the last time I would have seen every one of them would have been at the last premiere for that movie. So I might have watched the film a couple of times at there's normally a premiere in London, premiere in America, and I would have done both of them. And I don't think I'll see like a few seconds when I'm flipping through channels on TV or whatever, but I don't know if I will now, because I'm genuinely like, because the new version's being made, I'm like, well, I'll probably show my kid that so that he doesn't have to watch me. Like, I think that'll be more fun, and I will probably enjoy it more. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever watch them again. I'm sure at some point I'll see them again, but I don't know, man. There's lots of stuff to watch. There's like, I don't sit around watching myself. I hate watching myself generally. I think now I would like watching the earlier films more because I think I'm so much further away from them, where like when I was like 18 or 19, I was embarrassed by my 10, 11-year-old self. Now I think I would see my 10, 11-year-old self and go like, oh no, you're very sweet, and probably be more embarrassed by my 18, 19, 20-year-old self. But that's also not just a Harry Potter thing, I will add. I don't want to make it seem like it's just about that. I haven't watched anything I've done, I think, for the last few years. Oh, that's not true. I watched the Weird Al movie, but other than that, like, I've been doing a lot of theatre, I've been doing a lot of TV shows, and I don't really go back and look very much. And it says, yes, Daniel Radcliffe has talked about being open to superhero roles, though there's no official deal yet. Yeah, very far from it, with either Marvel or DC. He said he wouldn't rule out doing a superhero movie if it was cool, weird, and different. And even joked that he thinks he'd be a natural fit for Spider-Man. Yeah, 20 years ago. Yeah, I feel like, my dimensions mean I'm a natural fit for Spider-Man. I think that boat has sailed, unless they're doing like spider geriatric man one day, and I can do that. Yeah, I mean, look, of course, I'd be open to anything if the script was cool and weird and different, but there's very much never been any truth to any of it. I think I saw that James Gunn had to like say that there was no truth to a rumor, so sorry about that, dude. Sorry that you're having to like, you know, field questions about random internet theories. The classic one has always been Wolverine. I still get people coming up to me and being like, is that gonna happen? I'm like, dude, no. Look, somebody will prove me wrong and do a great job. I think it's a bit of a cursed chalice to be the person that follows Hugh Jackman in Wolverine. Not sure I would want that job. I'm sure somebody out there will and will do it wonderfully, but he's made it pretty definitive, so I don't know that I would even want to do that. A Daniel Radcliffe role is challenging, unconventional, and a bit risky. He chooses characters that let him reinvent himself, from a tormented poet, Kill Your Darlings, to a surreal talking corpse, Swiss Army Man. Yeah, I mean, I think I am in a incredibly fortunate and very unusual position to be able to pick things and do things that I want just because I want to do them, and for no other reason. That generally the thing now is like, if it seems like something I would enjoy watching, and I think I will have a good time making it, then that's what a Daniel Radcliffe role is now. I think the ideal for me is something like, I'm about to do a play where like the role and the character and the story, it fits very nicely in, I was gonna say in my comfort zone, but there's a lot of parallels, which means it's fairly easy to access who this character is. But the play is also a one-person show and features a huge amount of audience participation, and so it's gonna be changing and kind of unpredictable every night. It's called Every Brilliant Thing. Don't know when this interview comes out, but you can probably buy a ticket. So I think whenever I can find something that's like a little bit in my comfort zone and a little bit completely outside my comfort zone, that's like the ideal. Something that's gonna be like, oh, I know what I'm bringing to this, but also it is gonna push me. He has often said that his role in the stage play Equus taught him the most about being an actor. Performing such an intense, emotionally and physically demanding role live every night pushed him and allowed him to connect directly with an audience. I would say a combination of Equus, definitely, because it was my first play, and I was doing it with Richard Griffiths, who's one of the greatest actors I will ever work with, and I learned a lot from watching him about just relaxation on stage and how he's doing his best work when he's sort of at ease. But I think there's something about How to Succeed doing comedy, doing a live comedy night after night after night, the best way to learn about comedy and timing and all of that stuff, and I think there's something about your own natural, like when I was a teenager growing up on screen and on film, I was really self-conscious and wanted to was very worried about my face doing anything, I think, and there was a time where I was like, if I just don't move my face, then it won't look weird. So I became, I think, quite, inexpressive for a while. And I think doing How to Succeed taught me actually whatever your own natural weirdness is, lean into it as far as you can, because that's what makes you you. That's actually quite compelling for an audience to watch, I think. I mean, AI did pretty well, I would say. There's nothing outright wrong on there, and it took a couple of good stabs at why does Arthur choose to make a movie about Reggie? Those episodes aren't out yet, so there is literally no way it can know that. It has a horoscope quality where it's generic enough to kind of not be wrong, but not specific enough that you would ever be like, oh, that's nailed it. Hi, I'm Daniel Radcliffe. I am in a new show called The Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins, and it will be premiering on February 23rd at 8 p.m. on NBC, 2 episodes back to back. Do not miss it. And then on Peacock the next day.